Okay. Um, so I've been processing some things, and I found out yesterday that Carrie passed away. Um, and I was gonna go out and go get some work done outside the house and stuff, but then I found that out, and so it just kind of skewed my whole day, naturally so. And I don't know. Yesterday I felt really weird about it. Like it didn't feel real. It didn't feel real. Um, I don't know. It still doesn't feel real, but I think it feels a little bit more real today than it did yesterday. Um, and I don't know. I just feel like so much has been going on recently, and so much has been just really really heavy that's been going on recently. Like been having a lot of heavy emotions recently. Um, and I don't want to listen to this. Um, okay. Um, yeah, I've just been having a lot of heavy emotions recently, or kind of intense emotions that I can't really hide from. um, I don't know, just like with last month, just the whole whirlwind that was, and like, you know, having all this hope and, opening myself up to love and stuff, and not just in like a theoretical sense, but in a very real way of like there was someone in front of me and I was ready to open up, and like dive in head first. And then the whole just like tug of, you know, God telling me to let go of this person, and really not wanting to let go of that person. And eventually coming to, the conclusion of like, I can't be selfish in holding on to this person. Um, I need to lock in and do what I need to do, because there's clearly a reason why God is telling me to let go of this person. So for me to hold on would be very selfish and very close-minded of me, and very not trusting of God. Um, and so there's a quote that I came across from Osho, I believe. No, that's what they said it was from. I don't know who. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like Osho is also a title for something like a role. Not anyways. But it's I love the flower so much that instead of plucking it, I left it alone. And that has been so, like, that was such a jarring thing to read when I read it. I'm like, wow, that is. I'm supposed to be doing my makeup right now. I was like, wow, like, yeah, like, yeah. I love the flower so much that instead of plucking it, I left it alone. And I did, halfway pluck it for a second there, but I think I locked in and realized, like, okay, I need to leave this flower alone, because I care about this flower so much. And if God is telling me to leave this flower alone, and God, wants what's best for both of us, then obviously me holding on to this is not what's best for this flower. Me plucking this flower is not what's best for the flower. So if I were to pluck the flower, I would be selfish, and the flower would suffer and die. And all because I wanted to pluck it, and I just think that's really, I don't know, I didn't want to hurt that person. I think things still ended up being kind of hard. But um, at the end of the day, I still, you know, um, I just care a lot about that person, and I really don't want to hurt them, and so I have to let them go because clearly God is just saying that, like, it's not a good idea, unfortunately. And so dealing with all of that last month and then going through like the just like sadness of it all, of like letting go of someone I didn't want to let go of, and mourning like the potential that was there, because I really felt that there was so much like there. I don't know how to say that without getting too descriptive, but I don't know. It was really hard for me to let go, and I was crying so much. I was crying. I was journaling. I've been writing letters. I've been writing poetry. I've been, painting. I've been just really trying to. I've been reading my Bible so much. I've been really just trying to cope in healthy ways, and also just like allow myself to feel the things. And then, other things that have been going on in my life. And then Carrie passed away, and I'm just like, it's spring. It's supposed to be, not like this. But today, I have been feeling very grateful for like all of this for some reason. And I kind of don't really know how to explain, so I'm gonna try my best here. But I just think back, all this stuff is just making me think back on the person I used to be and how I would have been, processing all of this loss and just hard things and hard emotions that I've been walking with over the past few weeks. And I realized I would not be processing it. I used to be so like numb and emotionless. I was really like a shell of a person for real. And I did that to myself purposefully. I numbed myself because I just didn't want to, in an effort to not experience the extreme lows of life. I just kind of like, if emotions are on a spectrum, this being the more positive, happier emotions that we feel, the feelings that we want to feel, the joy, the peace, the excitement, the everything. And then this is like the more negative emotions, or the harder emotions to deal with, like the sadness, depression, anxiety, just things of that nature. I didn't want to be on this end of the spectrum, and I knew I was prone to that. Well, because, wait, how am I trying to phrase this? I knew I was prone to this end of the spectrum, to feeling these things. And so I didn't want to feel them. And so I just kind of stayed right here, where I'm like a little bit, I could get a little bit happy, I can get a little bit sad, but not too much, and I think that got me through what I needed to get through at a certain point in my life. But when you shut down the part of yourself that could in an effort to prevent yourself from feeling really sad or really depressed or really whatever, you also shut down the side of yourself that allows you to feel the other end, which is joy and peace and happiness and like pure raw joy, And so for the longest time, I really didn't feel much of anything very strongly at all. Um, Things would happen, and I just kind of was numb for a very, very long time. And then, even though I would try to not, I would do all these things to not feel the other spectrum, the other side of the spectrum. I still would get in these, have these depressive episodes and stuff, like major depressive episodes. But I also had dysthymia, so it's like in between the major depressive episodes, I was having this like cloud of fog. Like it was just a fog over my life and over my emotions and my thoughts, my everything, really. And so I just didn't feel things. I didn't process things. I just kind of kept moving. Um, and I remember when I finally started building a relationship with God a few years ago, when I first came to college. Um, I remember something that kept coming up was Ezekiel 36:26. And so I prayed it over myself. And I have seen, and if you know, you know, like, and I don't know, I feel like anyone who prays Ezekiel 36:26, it's like, that's a dangerous prayer because it's like you pray that and suddenly you are just this like mm, just pile of emotions. It just feels like you're just all emotion. It feels like it's just like all you do is feel, 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 and it's so hard to go from not feeling anything at all to feeling everything, and then trying your best to understand the emotions and why they're coming out the way that they're coming out, and processing them, and allowing them to come and sit with you, and then also not dwelling on them. And there's so much to emotions, you know and so I just was reflecting on that this morning, and I just felt very grateful that it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but it's like I may be crying a lot and processing a lot and listening to all these like really introspective songs and things, and I might be, sad sometimes throughout the day, or for a full day sometimes, or you know some days I'm good, like it's not like I'm sad every single day, but I definitely have my moments that are a little difficult, more difficult than others. um, Moments where I just 1 minute I'm scrolling on Instagram, and then the next minute I'm literally bawling my eyes out, or you know I just feel like a sudden urge to get up and like move, or else I'm gonna like start crying or something, or I don't know, like just sitting with so many emotions. Forgot what I was saying. Forgot where I was going with that. But even though I'm really going through the motions right now, and dealing with a lot of different things and processing a lot of different things, I'm really grateful that I'm able to feel these things. I think it's a beautiful thing to have cared about someone so much that when you have to let go of them, it's hard. You know? That the relationship you had with this person was so beautiful and so important to you and special to you, that when God tells you to let go of this person, it's like, wait, God, no, I don't want to do that. Wait, God, are you sure that's what you're saying? Because, like, I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? That's silly. And then I'm crying about it for a week after I let go of this person, and still crying about it to this day. Still, processing it in my own way. I think it's beautiful that I got to experience experience this person and experience a more vulnerable side to them that, other people may not be able to experience. That's a unique thing that I got to experience out of life that billions of people will never say that they were able to experience, you know? Or when it comes to Carrie, it's like, um, I got to experience this person while they were alive. I got to get to know them and talk to them and hug on them and love on them while they were here. And, the fact that I am sad that they're gone meant that they meant something to me, you know? Whereas before, I would have been so detached from this. I would have been so. I don't know. Like, it's not like I wouldn't have been sad still, but it's different now that I'm like so aware of it and I can actually feel these things. And so I was actually able to let myself get attached to these people and love on these people, whereas before I really would have been much more reserved and held back and scared to love on this person because I was so scared of losing people that I just didn't put myself out there at all. Or not at all. I put myself out there, but never enough to truly. I never put myself out there enough to the point where if I lost them, I would be really hurt by it, and it would really affect me heavily. I kind of kept a arm's length with that type of stuff. But now I'm growing and I'm evolving, and I'm really allowing myself to love people very deeply, even at the risk of things not working out. And even though you could argue that I still do that because when God was telling me to let go, it was kind of early on into like us trying to see what this could be. But like for me, it's like I was already there, like I was already. It's not like I was in love. That's not what it was for sure. I wasn't there yet. I mean, maybe if you had gave me another week or two, or let me not say a week, maybe another month, I probably would have been there. But like, the love was already there, just in love, But nonetheless, like, love is still love. You know what I'm saying? And love is such a beautiful, intense feeling, and then also an action and like a thing you express and do. And that was already there for me, I already loved this person, even before the whole thing kind of blew up into what it ended up blowing up into. But it's like, before I would have never even got that far. Like, letting myself feel that. I would have been too embarrassed. I would have been too like, no, like, he wouldn't like me back. So it's just like, nah, like, I'm not going to even like him, because I wouldn't even let myself like him because I would be scared that he wouldn't like me back, or because I would be scared that things wouldn't work out. But this time I was like, no, I like him. I like him, and I like him, and I want to be with him, and I want to explore romance and love with this person. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling here. I mean, that's kind of the point, to get it off my chest. But I don't know, I just feel very grateful that it's like, wow, like, this is kind of like what life is all about, question mark? Like, I don't know. These emotions and the feelings and the thoughts are hard to sit with, but I don't know, if I just constantly walk through life without having such meaningful relationships in my life that when they leave, it's hard. What am I doing here, If every relationship I had in my life I could say goodbye to with ease, what kind of life is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, every relationship I have in my life, if something were to not work out, I would be heartbroken. All the friendships, all my family relationships, I don't have anything going on romantically right now anymore, but, you know, um, I don't know, like, it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing to have things to lose. Is that crazy to say? Like, I don't know. Like, I know it's not crazy, but I feel like the way I'm phrasing it sounds crazy. But I think it's a beautiful thing to lose things and realize that, yeah, like, actually, that was really important to me, and it still is important to me. That person still, I still love this person, I still care about this person, and that love is never lost or never wasted. The fact that I cared about them and still do care about them so much, even if we're not talking anymore, or even if they're not alive and here anymore, the love that I had for them, or still have for them actually, and the love that they had for me and poured out on me, is so beautiful, and is so not, it's not wasted at all, and it's proof of connection, it's proof of love, it's proof of, like, beauty in life, you know? I really don't know how to explain this, but I think the pain that I feel about losing these people, it's just proof that, like, I'm alive and I'm living, like, truly living life the way I'm supposed to. Um and I am very grateful for that today. As hard as it is, it's still very difficult. I wish so many things were different. I wish she was still alive. I wish she was still here. I wish, that when she was alive, I did things differently and, maneuvered our friendship differently. And for the other person, I, still wish every day that I could text them and talk to them and see how they're doing and check up on them. But, I think the fact that I still want to do that with both of these people just means that I care. And that's a good thing. And there's like this, there's something floating around now. Um, what's his name? Ethan something? I don't know. It's some celebrity. He was on like a red carpet or something and getting interviewed, and the interviewer asked him, like, what would you say to people in reference to like unrequited love or something like that? And he was like, the one in love always wins. And a lot of people have really been resonating with that, statement. And I do too. I think the one in love always wins. I think the people who don't feel things, trust, they're not winning in life. Like, they are not winning in life. The people that can just like toss people to the wind without a thought in the world, like, they're not living life properly. Like, they're not, they're that's not something to aspire to be. Someone who's nonchalant and can just let go and lose people all willy-nilly without really feeling much about it. Like, that's not the end goal. The person who feels so deeply and is who really nourishes the relationships in their life and is hurt when things don't work out, or when life just happens, that's who's winning. That's who's really winning. Now, that's not to say that when you have to let go of somebody, even no matter how much you love them and care about them, that you don't do that. You still do that. But the fact that it's hard is a beautiful thing. The fact that you struggle to let that person go is a beautiful thing, because your capacity to love is beautiful. The the capacity to feel deeply and become attached to a person is a beautiful thing. You shouldn't be walking around life not being able to be attached to people and not connect with people and not feel deeply when you meet a stranger and have a beautiful conversation with them, or when you hang out with a friend and you have a conversation that lasts all night long, or even when you and a good friend of yours are just watching TikToks together, snuggled up on the couch together, and y'all just scrolling through TikTok reels, or whoa, TikTok reels, Instagram reels together. Like, that's connection, that's love, and that's what, like, I'm here for, at least. I don't have no dream job, you know. I don't really have what let me just put it this way. What drives me in life is experiences. Not a job, not achieving certain things, but if I get to the end of my life and say, or not even that, but like, I just want to experience life to its fullest extent. I want to love, I want to love, like, I just, experiences are what drives me, truly. Um, and when I think about it that way, it's like, yes, I'm in pain right now from losing people, but while she was alive, I got to experience her in such a beautiful way. Just experiencing her was beautiful. Cause she was such a beautiful person, and she has such a beautiful soul, and yeah, and that is amazing, and that is an experience worth having. It, like, experiencing her while she was alive is worth the pain I feel now for losing her, you know? And then same with, like, and like experiencing him in all the ways that I experienced him, you know, as a stranger, and then slowly into acquaintances, and then into friends, and then into, like, more than friends. Like, the experience of all of that, of experiencing him and getting to know him and slowly growing closer and closer over time, that was worth the pain I feel now. Like, sometimes I think, oh, if I could go back, I would do things differently. I would do this, I would do that. And it would really, if I were to go back and change things, it really would just be to alleviate any chance of him experiencing pain. But for me, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, I would go back and change things, but then sometimes I'm like, no. Because experiencing him in every way that I did was worth the pain that I feel now from losing him. You know? But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of grateful today. And I want to really just kind of revel and sit in that. Still sad. Still sad. I wish she was still here. Um, but I'm grateful that I got to experience her while she was alive, and to love on her, and to know her, and to hear her story, and just, yeah. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna stop. I just keep talking in circles, and I still need to get ready because I'm supposed to be leaving. So So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish getting ready. I'm pretty much ready. I don't know. I kind of don't like my outfit, but I'm gonna just kind of go with it. And if I really hate it before I leave out, then I'll change. But I don't know. I just kind of want to go out and go get myself like a coffee or a cute little drink and get some work done outside the house, and I'll be cooped up in here all day. I think my blush looks decent. I don't know. Got this blush from Dollar Tree. It's pretty decent. You really don't need a lot. A little goes a very long way with liquid blush, I find. Where's my lip combo? I think it's in here. It is in here. And my watch is in here. Oop, need to sharpen it. Right now I'm just wishing I wish I could just tell them that I love them one more time, face to face. Without, I don't know. I wish I could tell her that I love her one more time, face to face, while she was alive and could hear it and receive it. And I wish I could tell him that one more time without, ruining everything and, I don't know. I feel like it's not fair for me to do that to him because I'm the one that ended things, but I don't know, I wish I could. Just so he knew that I really meant it, But for now, I'll just keep writing about it in my journal and writing letters that they'll potentially never read. Maybe one day I'll see both of them again and be able to tell them and read the poems I write about them, read the letters I write about them to them. You know? But who knows? You cannot see any glitter. That's okay.